So I keep seeing this series from this guy where it's like papers I wrote thinking I was going to save the world with my liberal arts degree. And these videos, yes, they are funny. I also think that the videos are so popular because of the rise of anti-intellectualism. And maybe this is me using my liberal arts degree a little too much, but I think even if they started tongue-in-cheek, started itself like a little bit ironic, there's been enough of them. I think there's a bit of an anti-intellectual edge to that. First of all, yeah, so what? A lot of liberal arts papers are funny. A lot of them have goofy titles. But you know what? A lot of times when they have something important to say, they need an attention-grabbing title, so you will click on that video. So you will see what they have to say. Maybe an article sounds very silly and goofy. However, how else are they going to get you to read their social commentary if they don't grab your attention first and foremost? Second of all, I feel like because the topic of the video is specifically undergrad, the video misses a key point, which is you should write stupid papers in undergrad. I'm at the very tail end, I am almost done with undergrad. And let me just say, it is through writing very stupid humanities papers that I've learned to become a better author. Plain and simple. You know how you get better at writing essays? Practice. You know what makes you practice more? Writing stupid yet well thought out essays. One time I wrote an essay about K-pop for a gender studies class, and you know what? It was fun. I really enjoyed the research process. And because research, which can be a slog to get through, was fun, it made it an easier time for me to look into the theory about it, because I'm like, how can I make this theory apply to K-pop? Because it's fun. It is fun. I think a lot of people learn how to write essays in high school and it just sucks. It just is not fun. And now we're seeing kids go online being like, I can't believe my teacher expects me to write a paper in an hour. Guess what? It's not that hard. Not to diminish the struggles of the youth, but it's not that hard. If every single generation that I can think of in recent memory learned to do it, so can the new generation. You know what essay I wrote that made me really love writing essays? I got to write a linguistics paper for my English class about 1984. It was kind of a stupid paper. I referenced Lord of the Rings and Gangnam Style in that paper, but it was fun. My teacher gave me guidance on how to write the paper better. And guess what? Now paper writing is a lot easier because I was able to play around during the fundamentals. In your first few years, you're not going to be tackling something very deep and serious right off the bat. Your magnum opus of paper writing in undergrad is not going to start in any class where the code is 101. It's not until you dive really deep in a class that is for senior level where you can start really seriously and very critically tackling more major social issues. So yeah, in your first and second year, at the very least, go ahead, write a stupid paper about Taylor Swift. Because you are taking something that might seem a little goofy, a little pop culture, and then you get to apply it to something a bit more serious. And then by the time you're ready to tackle, I don't know, men's mental health, you already know how the research process goes. You already maybe have a little bit of a background on things related to this topic. You are building a toolkit. And if that toolkit was built with some silly items, so be it. Right next to your hammers and screws, maybe there's a rubber chicken. That's okay. And I might be biased here because I did study gender studies, am still currently studying gender studies, but sometimes a paper that seems kind of goofy on the surface is actually going to say something important, especially I think when it comes to something like media studies or media and sociology, because the media we consume has an impact on the audience that consumes it. The first thing that comes off the top of my dome is the song The Pill by Loretta Lynn. That song that is about birth control actually had a tangible impact on women in the American South inquiring more about birth control, which is a net good. You know what made that impact? Media. A song. A little country song made by an incredibly popular country artist. Yes, a lot of things are not that serious, and maybe this paper you write as a 20-something-year-old is not gonna save the world. No. But it gets you engaging critically with the world, and that's what you're paying thousands of dollars to do in college. I think even if you are not a student, you should get into the practice of writing very silly, very brief essays. I think there's some benefit here because it gets you thinking, using your brain and interpreting the world and seeing if you can also create an argument and support it. If it challenges your own beliefs by making a thesis, by making a hypothesis, and then testing it. And to bring back the original point I had about anti-intellectualism, it is by making fun of liberal arts and humanities and the social sciences, that anti-intellectualism can be promoted because these soft, more feminized parts of academia are taken less seriously. And if the things like philosophy are being devalued and being made the constant butt of the joke without having the same social capital that it once did, what does that say about changing attitudes in society? I'm not obsessed with the philosophers of yesteryear. I do appreciate that there used to be a place in society for people to have philosophers as household names, currently philosophizing thinkers, people who could make a living off of that. I used to really buy into the either you're an arts or a science person, maybe sometimes you can dabble in both, but I've gotten over that. I think both are very, very important for their own reasons, and they often overlap in very important ways. In the end, anti-intellectualism will affect both STEM and humanities, because both are part of the institution of academia, which are both really under fire from conservative policies. Just look at the new recent Trump administration lists of majors that are not getting funding anymore. That is actively anti-intellectual. This video got a lot more serious on its topics than I was expecting, but it is serious times. And maybe I'm overreacting, but I've never known times other than the times right now, and these times seem quite dire. So in conclusion, close this video, open up a tab on JSTOR or your local library, search up anything you are interested in researching, and make a thesis about it. Write a silly little paper.